Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. So for today's video, it's going to be another Durham University help, advice, informative video, and I'm going to tell you what it's like to actually study at Durham. If you've been watching my channel and if you've seen my previous Durham University related videos, you'll have seen that it's advice for freshers and like things you need to know before you attend. But in this particular video, I'm going to tell you what it's actually like to get down to the work, what it's actually like to do the studying at Durham, and give you some information, a little bit of advice, and a little bit of help so you know how it's going to be and what to expect when you do actually begin your subject. So before we get started, go and grab yourself a cup of tea, and if you're new here, please do remember to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and do subscribe to my channel as well. Without further ado, let's get straight on with the video. So the first thing to mention when it comes to actually studying at Durham is Freshers Week is obviously the first week of term, and then the actual lessons begin after that. So you won't have any lessons as such during Freshers Week. That'll just be like introductions to things and just like your college. Your faculty might do like a talk, but it won't be actually teaching you your subject yet, so there's no need to worry about that because it's just going to be introductory in the first week. But once term actually does start and your lessons are underway, you'll find that to sort of get you into the swing of your subject, you might be set assignments, or you'll first of all be set readings, of course, every week. Some of those will be compulsory readings and some of them will be sort of secondary readings that you don't have to do if you don't want to. But what they're there for is to set you up with a good knowledge of the topic and also to give you more things to talk about when you'll be in your seminars and tutorials. More on them later. I think it's a really good idea to make notes as you do your reading throughout your term, because this means when it comes to actually doing your formative and summative assessments, you'll already have all the really interesting, juicy, important bits of knowledge that you need, and then you can put them together in a coherent format and basically formulate your essay answers from the work you've done throughout term and throughout the whole year, instead of then when it comes to doing the work, the essays, the exam revision as well, instead of having to like cram and try and learn everything, all you need to do is basically go back through your notes and your answers will be there right in front of you. And honestly, that will save you so much stress and so much time as well. So that honestly is a key point. Definitely make notes from the readings, because they will really help you when it comes to actually doing like your work. Of course, your essays and exams, which is what university is all about. To tutorials and seminars. So basically everyone has their lectures and then everyone gets divided into smaller groups. So these will be tutorial and seminar groups. And some people can find, especially if they do like two different subjects and do like combined honours, that sometimes their timetable will actually clash a little bit, but there's no need to worry because you can effectively choose which seminar or tutorial group you go into. And this means you'll be able to make sure your timetable is all nice, organised, and nothing clashes. Sometimes if you're going to have one clash one week, you can just join a different seminar or tutorial group, and there's not usually a problem with doing this because, you know, people understand sometimes people's modules can clash. And as you go into second and third year as well, you'll find that basically you become more astute to seeing when this might be going to happen. So you might pick your modules like according so they don't clash. Or of course, if there's two things you really want to do and you notice they are going to clash, don't worry about it. You can always, where there's will, there's way basically, and there is a workaround, and you'll be able to pick a tutorial group that will make sure that your both lessons will happen, but you don't need to be worried about missing anything. So basically, if you do want to do modules and they do clash, like see if there is a workaround, and if there isn't, then you might have to consider potentially choosing different ones, but most of the time this isn't too much of a problem. When it comes to essays, what usually happens with modules is they'll set you a formative assignment before the summative. Formative just means it's something that comes first, so basically it's kind of like a practice run. And obviously, if you didn't already know, your first year at Durham won't actually count towards your actual degree classification, but when you do the modules, a formative essay is like the practice run of the work that you'll have to do later on. So basically it's an opportunity to write an essay in a new academic format, which is how university work is organised. It's slightly different, but it'll become much clearer like as you actually embark upon your subject, and oftentimes your tutors will sort of give you an idea about how to form and structure it, so do not worry about this. Also, as long as you get all the important information into your essay, there's no need to worry. Everyone has their own house style, so honestly, just write it how it feels best for you and how you can put all the points in. A formative essay though is the one where it will not be marked. You'll get a grade for it, but it's just for you. It's just so you understand like how you're doing. It's not going to be added to your classification or anything like that. That's just purely like a guide figure, so you know whereabouts you're at. So you'll know if you're like in the first category, which is amazing, or if you're in like a 2-1 category, which is absolutely fine as well. And especially when you've just started, like you've gone in, if you go in at like a 2-1 with some of those, like that's great. You know you're like on track to, you know, actually pass your degree as you continue through it. And if you get a 2-2, you just know that you need to like work a bit harder maybe, or write in a slightly different style. It'll all become clearer though once you actually start. And of course your summative essays are basically the ones that are graded, and they're the ones that you will actually get a mark for. So in your first year, they won't count towards your actual degree, as I was saying anyway, but they're the ones where it sort of gets the grade, and that's the one that they would count on the record. But it won't matter for like second and third, because second and third year is when your marks actually do count towards your degree. So going forward into second and third year, obviously as soon as that you do a summative, that will count towards your overall classification. But if you're going in now as a fresher in September, October, do not worry about this. Just use your first year as an opportunity to really get to grips with university life and really get into the flow of it, and of course enjoy it. It's so important. You'll learn so much obviously during your subject, and it's a really good opportunity to really just immerse yourself within that and really enjoy it. So on to studying and preparing for your work that you'll be doing, your essays, your exams. So a lot of people will go to a library to do this. Obviously it's a great way of being in an environment that's very studious, focused, everyone's doing the same thing, so you feel like you're all part of the same unit, all trying to, you know, succeed academically, and that's like a really good environment to be in. So the main university library is called Bill Bryson Library, and it's up in the science site. So if you do science or geography or anthropology, that's great for you because it's right next to your faculty. So you'll be able to go straight from lessons to the library, back to more lessons. Really, really convenient. Also, if you're on one of the hill colleges, like St Mary's College, which was my college, St Aidan's, Van Mildert, Collingwood, those ones are also really close to it, so that'll be really, really convenient for you. If you know that you like to study in a smaller environment and not feel like as under pressure as being in the big library can be, especially during exam times, it's incredibly busy, it can get very warm, and also to make sure you actually get a seat, you've got to get there very, very early. You can of course use your college library. So I believe that all the colleges have their own library. St Mary's definitely does, and obviously Castle does. Castle has a really beautiful college library. You can of course use your college library, and that's also a great alternative, and it'll be right near your dorms as well, so it'll be basically next door to where you're living, and that's like really convenient, especially if you have work that's due like the next day, for example, and you know that if you just sit in your room you won't be able to concentrate necessarily. It's a really good way of like focusing the mind and making sure you actually get the work done like in quite a good time efficient way as well. I found that the library was good for actually making me put pen to paper and actually just really crack on with the task at hand. So if you also know that you need some structure and you know that you like to be in a really studious, calm but sort of focused environment, the library will definitely be where you need to go to do some studying. Okay, so on to how hard it is to actually do the studying. Now, you'll find that depending on your subject, how much effort, how much work you actually have to put in will vary significantly. So if you do an art subject, like I did sociology, basically you will have a full timetable of lectures and you will get tutorials and seminars. So some weeks it will feel like you're like on the go so much, there's like so many things, so many different modules. But that's good. You feel like your timetable is really full. You're learning loads of different things about lots of different topics under your subject area. That can be a really rewarding time in your timetable where you're actually getting like loads of information and you feel like you're really getting the most out of university and for what you've obviously paid for. If you do science and other science related subjects, basically your timetable, from what I've heard from friends, was always very, very full. So basically science and maths, those people get like a lot of work. They have labs every week or every couple of weeks depending on which science it is, and basically you'll have like a full timetable pretty much all the time. You have a lot of lectures and a lot of seminars and a lot of labs. So yeah, basically you will have a busy schedule. but I know that basically most people do fall into the swing of it really easily, and even though it's hard work, like everyone still manages to organise their time effectively, and they still have like enough time to obviously go out with their friends, go out for brunch at the weekends, do their extracurricular activities and the societies and the sports that they want to do. So please don't worry that you'll be overwhelmed with your subject, because as long as you're like organised, it'll be absolutely fine. I think there's something really important to mention as well, is that obviously almost everybody at some point during their time at university might find that they're really overwhelmed with things. It might be something to do with university, it might be something completely nothing to do with university, it might be completely personal to you, and at times like this obviously people's work can suffer, and the university is often very good with this. Like, you'll be able to go and see somebody at your college, and then they can communicate with people in your faculty, and you can be granted an extension for certain pieces of work. I know that obviously with the pandemic, lots of people who are at university this year, they had extensions for things like their dissertation, and basically I'm just trying to say that university can be very lenient if you need the help, if you need extra time, because obviously they want everyone to succeed. They want you to be able to, you know, enjoy the process, but also produce the best quality work that they know that you're capable of. So if something comes up and you do need some extra time, you just need to speak to your college and your faculty, or sometimes your college will communicate for you, and basically you will be granted an extension. So that is usually between like 1 and 2 weeks, or if it's something bigger that's happened, then you can even get like months extended for your work. So don't worry about that kind of thing. That kind of thing is always like dealt with really well at university too. Okay, so obviously a big part of what it is to study at Durham University is of course using the library. So I'm just going to quickly touch upon how it actually is in the library, because the Bill Bryson Library is really, really big, and for a fresher, I remember when I started, there were things that I just didn't know how to use. For example, they have moving shelves, and I didn't know how to operate those, but they are actually very simple. You just got to make sure that no one's in between the shelves when you need to close them, because otherwise that person will get squashed. So please be mindful of that. So definitely make sure no one's already inside where the shelving area are. And definitely just also press the buttons like once and then give it a second and allow it to move. Otherwise they can get like a bit jammed, a bit stuck, and things can get a bit like, it can feel a bit awkward because like everyone around you will be like watching basically. So just like let the shelves do their thing and just calmly, patiently wait for them to move. That is definitely a good piece of advice. So as you go through university into your second and third year as well, if you do an art subject, I know this was definitely the case for sociology, some of your actual summative work will actually be graded in a group. So I remember having a module where we had to do a presentation. We were in a group of 3, and the mark from that did actually count towards our actual degrees. So I think for a subject like sociology, for example, obviously it's about people, so working together is sort of a natural part of what you'd be interested in potentially, and also what the subject is all about. So it kind of made logical sense for part of our work to be undertaken within a group setting. And for this you need to make sure you're like really like cooperative and like lenient and able to be flexible with each other, because people have like different schedules, people have different commitments, and at the end of the day, your grade is going to depend on each and every one of you pulling your weight if this happens. So as much as like most people at university, they want to be in like full control over their grade, because you know at the end of the day, like it's a very expensive experience going to university. Sometimes you'll have to release a little bit of that control and understand that it's going to be like a group work that's potentially going to be adding to your overall classification. And for that, I would just say we were really good together. We worked together effectively, and we took it in turns to like offer ideas, suggestions, do different research in different sections of our topic, and then brought them together and then compiled them, and then we did our presentation to our class, and it was graded accordingly. And that was great. I know some people had like more difficulty with their groups, but I would just say, even if like you know that there's people in your group that you don't get along with necessarily, you need to just make sure that you try your best to be cooperative and try to bring out the best in them, because this is truly how you'll ensure that you and everyone else gets a really good grade. Because I know that group work can be such a challenge, but I think that that's what university can be like. You know, things are set to challenge us sometimes. Also, Durham University is an amazing place, and you'll find that being around so many other academic and intellectual people will actually just be really inspiring. Everyone's going to be talking about their subject and things that they have to do, and you'll probably find that just being around so many other intelligent people will actually be really like motivating, and being around those people will also help you to be the best academic version of yourself. And I think that that was like a really important thing to acknowledge, because honestly, being around so many other people who are like similar to yourself, you know, intelligent, motivated, wanting to do their higher education, it will just be a really good catalyst to making you bring out your best academic self. So that's another really important thing, and a really positive thing. I feel like that'll really enhance the whole experience. The whole vibe of Durham is like very sort of inspirational, and obviously Durham's such a beautiful place. It feels so magical, it feels like Harry Potter land, and you know, it'll just make you really enjoy the whole academic experience more. The library is like really nice and really like fresh and modern. It's very airy and open space. Every space at the university is kind of created in a way which helps you to be like your most creative, open-minded self, and that is just like an amazing thing, I think. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it was helpful and gave you some advice about what it's actually like to study at Durham University. And yeah, if you are about to come to Durham, then let me tell you, you are in for such a treat. It's such a beautiful place, such an amazing university. You'll definitely enjoy it. If you are new here, please do remember to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and please do subscribe to my channel as well. That would make me very happy indeed. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon in a brand new video. Bye!